Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Today I'm going to show you the genesis of this video, which is in concerns of what languages we use for all the courses, memberships, and all of that. So I'm going to show you why, the rationale we choose languages and all that. So let's get to it. Okay, so if you come under my academy, you'll find a bunch of courses that are available. Just come under buy all our courses. This is the link here. So here you'll find that there's a lot of courses, I've done a complete analysis. I'm trying to use Matlab for financial modeling needs. So I've gone through that with all the different toolboxes available from MathWorks. So we've got Matlab analysis, and oddly enough, I did the same thing with R as well. I mean, R is powerful in certain packages, not everything, but certain packages is pretty good. And I think there is still some use for R if we move ahead with something I plan to do. So all this is still useful no matter what you choose. I think at the end of the day, what does it matter on the language? Everything comes back down to one simple thing: profit, and consistent profit, and the ability to rapidly generate those trading ideas to generate your profit. Simple, simple, simple. Okay, so we got our Matlab. I'll let you go through these entire courses. I got videos on all that too. Now, when you move into the actual components of our trading platform, or basic trading platform, again, all this, you get source code for everything. Detailed video walkthroughs, you name it, we got it. So a lot of effort's been put into this, but you'll see here in these components, which are basically broken up into different modules, all this is done in C#. Some people have been asking what languages these are all in. C# all the way, okay? So we've got covering here real-time data capture and historical backtesting. We use IQFeed as our data source. We've got some other, we'll call them trade secret tools that we use that are very effective to generate historical data. We don't go on about what they are in these or publicly, but when you get into all this, of course we reveal all that. So we use IQFeed, very good provider, and then we also have covered our interactive brokers, our connection into interactive brokers using the Trader Workstation TWS. We've got another wrapper library. It's okay to use, but there's some utilities in there that make it very useful to build out all your API calls to interactive brokers. And the reason why we use interactive brokers is because it always comes up top of choice for a lot of people. Customer service sucks and all that. Well, the technical, it's okay to work with, gets the job done, and especially from a global perspective, they've got a lot of major markets covered globally as well. That's for interactive brokers. The other thing is with this TWS option, the desktop client software, we've also got the ability to, as far as I know, that wrapper I mentioned does work with the interactive brokers gateway as well. So those are kind of decent options. I'm going to be starting out with the TWS. There's some very severe limitations with it resetting itself at midnight. I don't know why they did that, but whatever. But the gateway might be another good option. Okay, so obviously we've got more Matlab covered, how to extend all your trading ideas into something like these C# components with the IQFeed and the interactive brokers. So that's all covered as well. And then we've got demos here of complete trading platforms. Again, you are getting source code with all this. You get video code walkthroughs to show you how to do all this stuff. And then we move into Fpga with HDL deployment using the Simulink. I don't even know if this is covered elsewhere. Maybe it is, I don't know. But we've got ways to integrate your visual Simulink model, convert it into C++, create a dynamic link library so that can be used within these components. All again done with C#. And we've got methodologies how to do that. And of course, another big area that people ask about is what databases do we use? Well, we've spent a very long, exhaustive analysis on what databases to use, including all the NoSQL, R, Cassandra, Mongo, Redis, some good stuff out there, but it's just not good enough. We've also looked at MySQL, so we've looked at all that. But the one I really like is TSQL, with things like Stream Insights, which is from Microsoft for complex event processing. Not the best, but it's the easiest to work with that I've seen out there. And remember, I've spent a couple of years looking at all this stuff, so that's all been condensed into this mini course. So that's what you get when you sign up, even just individually on the single courses, and you can get all the details here. You can buy all the courses, or you're better off for your dollar to get the Elite, because it includes all these courses plus a lot more as well, more community stuff. Okay, so let's talk about Windows and .NET, why I choose all that. First, let's talk about Windows itself. Okay, this is important. I went through my website, Google Analytics, analyzed the stats for the last month on who's using what on their desktops when they visit the site. So these are fairly safe statistics, and these are thousands of users. This is percentage, okay? Now, the reason I like Windows is obviously from a marketing perspective. You're going to work and focus on the market, the biggest market, which is obviously Windows. Now, there's Windows total percentage of the entire user base of people that view my website here at quantlabs.net. Over 70% of them are coming through a Windows environment or a desktop environment. And then, of course, we break it down to other totals. You know, we got the mobile, like iOS and Android. It's small potatoes, like only 13%. And then Mac, which is only, I guess, 9.92%. And then Linux at 5.58. So between just alone Linux and Mac, it still only represents maybe 13% of the total percentage, versus Windows, which is just over 70%. And then, of course, you have the mobile stuff as well, like iOS and Android. And that's where most people are supposedly consuming content on the web, is through these mobile devices. Well, in my case, it's only 13%. So again, small potatoes when you combine all of this. iOS, Android, Mac, and Linux users. Small potatoes, sorry, but these are real hardcore stats that I use. Okay, so let's start looking at Windows. Obviously, a large percentage of those users among the 70%, very high percentage are going to be Windows 7. I'm a Windows 7 guy myself. But here's the interesting thing is, when you look at both Windows 8 and all these users, I went to a Hackers Fest a few days ago, and it was just nothing but open source Linux people complaining and whining about how the death of Microsoft is upon us and we shouldn't use evil Microsoft product, it's bad. Well, when I look at my market, over 70% of my users that are even interested in what I do, over 70% are Windows based. Again, a lot of them are Windows 7, but the interesting thing here is when you factor in these people whining about Windows, the current version of Windows 8 and 8.1, the percentages are probably, over time, in the next few months, will probably exceed the totals of all these users, Mac, Linux, and all the mobile people as well. And that's the current stuff of Microsoft. So all these users, open source, Linux users, Mac users, whining about Windows and how it's going to die. Well, guess what? The current current versions of Windows 8 and 8.1 will pretty well will outnumber the number of current users that whine about it. So this is where I focus on, of course, on my user base. So I'm a Windows guy. I hate to say it. This is the direction of the market. This is where it's currently at. And when I highlight a lot of the newer stuff coming out of Microsoft, all the analytics, new SQL Server 2014, and F# on its own, that's the future of Microsoft. That's stuff to get really excited about. Well, here, this is just the wonky stuff. I'm just saying, and that's just my personal opinion. But again, let's just look at the languages from a programming standpoint. Okay, obviously, this is TOPE. This is the #1 place to look at where users are, what languages, and all we really care about is really the .NET stuff. But just generally, obviously C, Java, obviously Objective-C is going to be up there, C++. This is where all the legacy stuff is. And of course, Objective-C for iOS and iPhone development, that's huge. But then you get C#, it's still growing in popularity. VB, yeah, it's an easy language. But C# is what we use, as I've explained here in these courses. Yeah, in the custom stuff. C#, and C++. All right, so when you look at Python, it's still, well, it's not growing. It's declining. That's not a good thing. PHP's declining, and these are open source languages. These were like steadfast languages. Now, at this same conference of these open source guys, I asked, "Hey man, like, what do you think the future of Python is? Like, with the data science versus the web developers within Python?" The consensus I got about Python is it's very simple. I think somewhere along the line, someone will fork a new version of Python, which will be just purely a data analytics, a data science language, just for those purposes of data analytics, data science. So there'll be a separate language broken out of Python. I could see that, but then we're going to run into the same issues. Oh, here we go down all the way down here somewhere to find R. Where are you, R? Oh, here you are. You know, R's going through the same disaster, dangerous on the development, on the future of these languages, both Python and R. Okay, so enough about that. I think this is one of the reasons why Python looks like it's losing momentum, and I've been watching these indexes for the last 7 months, and oddly enough, VB's still growing, Transact SQL is still growing, and Transact SQL, for those that don't know, are part of the SQL Server, SQL, I'll call it bastardization of their language in SQL, but it's specifically meant for SQL Server. But it's growing, and it's number 13. And then you come down to our favorite, F#, the new one, the new kid on the block. Look at that, double chevron, still after 7 months, growing like crazy. Maybe in a couple of years, will we see, you know, F# more in the top 10? Who knows? But these are exciting stats. And even look at our friend Matlab's on the growing as well. And I think that's just due to the Arduino and Strawberry Pi excitement that Matlab's jumped all over. But again, when you look at languages like R, it's down here, 23. And that's why I focus. Like, look, that's a Microsoft language. That's a Microsoft language. That's a Microsoft language. That's a Microsoft language as well. And these are all growing. The little green chevron. And of course, Matlab is also growing too. But when you look at the Python, it seems to be losing momentum for whatever reason. But that's about it. So hopefully this little video will give you a better idea on the direction we're going. I'm feeling good about what technologies and languages we're choosing. The one I could see really being very helpful will be F#. Now, I've also mentioned about R. R has so many weaknesses, let alone for the analytics is very good on the analytics side. Actually, you know, with Matlab, at the time I thought, well, R and Matlab could be on par with Matlab, but R comes with a lot of deficiencies. And guess what? F# enables you, if I can get that working, that R.net working with R, these R scripts, and again, you get all the R scripts with this in the language, or in these what we call units. So you do get all the R scripts and MATLAB scripts as well. So if we can get these R scripts working with F# in a live trading environment, we're off to the races, because this stuff also includes some pretty powerful charting capabilities as well. Now, a lot of people come back and say, well, what about speed and all that? Okay, well, if you want to blow your brains out in C++, go ahead, but you'll probably spend a lot more time developing, writing your own memory management and so forth, and trying to debug it. The debugging cycle is just, it's long. I do like C#, sorry, C++. It is still one of my favorite languages. Always C will be my favorite language of all of them. But I do like C#, just due to the fact that it's easy to use. I do come from the world of Java. Again, I just don't know where Java lies in the future. But all I know is the new Java 8 contains functionality, the lambdas that C# had for a couple of years now. So I would think that Microsoft's making more innovative languages. Like I keep saying, F# is really exciting me. This one I can see some potential with, but again, combined with all this stuff in a couple of months, once I come out of my analytics on the mass stuff, it'd be interesting to see what I come up with in the coming months. So all in all, with what's currently out there for my memberships, this is a really, honestly, it's a solid foundation to prevent you from going down all the rabbit holes that I've gone down. I mean, I've spent probably half my time in the research just going down rabbit holes. And again, I've been doing this for 3.5 years, so you can imagine I've spent, what, 1.5 years just wasting time, and a lot of it, honestly, I hate to say it, a lot of it was due to Linux technologies and open source languages that kind of led you down basically rabbit holes. But with Windows and Microsoft technologies, especially the languages, you just get up and running a lot faster. Just my opinion, that's more important to me, is productivity than anything else. I don't mind paying a little bit for productivity. If you want to be I guess a cheap ass, or money's an issue, hell, why are you trading? You should be more focused on productivity and your trading ideas and get them implemented faster, so you can get the profit faster as well, instead of tinkering around with all the Linux stuff out there that just really dogs you. Just my opinion from my experience, and I keep directing people, just look up anything Linux on my YouTube channel. You see the amount of work I put into it. Anyways, enough ranting. A lot of people asked about the languages of choice, why, and why I like my Windows at this moment. With these sort of statistics, it's been like that since the day I started. And with these current versions of Windows 8, I think over time this can only grow. And I've played with a new Windows 8.1, and at some point I'll be upgrading, and also upgrading the server end of it to Windows Server 2012. Okay, so hopefully that'll give you some perspective on stuff, and I'll talk to you soon.